34 days to election 2020. Hello and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, former President Mahama accuses President Akufo-Addo of selective justice as he challenges him to punish Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta for his involvement in the Japa royalties deal in the same manner as PPA boss fired for abuse of office.
If you say, oh yeah, Obanpenyi Enuyanti, onto me and Yeshe, onto me Yinedi. And so, Oshe. Nya etia PPA boss na and tempara your man report na where you say any panedi.
Tonight, latest Cocoa Board report confirms Joy News investigation revealing some high-grade certified cocoa purchase licensed buying companies are in fact ordinary ones.
The committee, which was made up of representatives from the various interest groups, have come up with a draft document that is under review currently.
We'll bring you details of the report plus review of the Cocoa Sustainability Program takes off following Joy News expose. Also tonight, Majority Leader in Parliament proposes holding the swearing-in of the President in January at the precinct of the House instead of the Independence Square, citing inconvenience and security concerns.
The House has decided that the President-elect must from hence, subject to security considerations, be sworn in the presence of Parliament, before Parliament, and in Parliament.
We'll hear from the President on this proposal, plus his commitment to strengthening the oversight role of Parliament.
Our Parliament, the legislative arm of government, must grow into its proper role as an effective machinery for accountability and oversight of the executive, and not be its junior partner.
And in business, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers project the marginal reduction in prices of petroleum product will continue to the end of this year.
In sports,
UEFA Champions League is back on your Super Hits Radio Joy 99.7 FM. I'll bring you details when I join you much later.
And of course tonight, will Joe Biden capture the presidential seat or will Donald Trump shock his critics and retain it? We have all the analysis as anxiety and excitement builds up in the U.S. elections, which is still underway.
And that's not so much because of the Electoral College, although that's always been in place. So already there are about 95 million votes that have been cast.
You want to stay with us for all that and more, plus your comments 055 1111 997. My name is Evans Mensah. And this is your election headquarters. Election headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity, smart lubricants, quick to move, thick to protect. And tonight, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta will never face punishment because he is related to the president. That's the declaration by former President John Mahama following the damning revelations by the special prosecutor of the Finance Minister's involvement in the Ijapa royalties saga. Now, in the corruption risk assessment report, Mr. Amadou says that there might be what he calls bid rigging in favor of Databank and Amara, the consortium that came together as transaction advisors, a firm closely linked with the minister. Also, that's Databank, addressing the chiefs and people of Ashali-Buche. In the Denton constituency, John Mahama challenged the president to sack the finance minister just as he did the PPA boss.
President Akasa and Ebe Yinefim Akasa will debut on Yeshi. After corruption, I just cry. And I pay the Ejapa report. Abba. The Ejapa report, no kind of finance minister. So, as a finance minister, if he say, oh, yeah, Obanpenyi Enuyanti. Onto me and Yeshe, onto me Yinedi. And so Oshe nya etia PPA boss na and tempara your man report na where you say any panedi. Eti nya fair justice and equal treatment. Ultimisha eniho. Eti NDC besaba. NDC bar. abraham say ye nipa eye bone a ye twe na so and no any fair the fight against corruption and you say we fi aban mu na new abayaba ni abefrem say court nya eye den ewo say ye kun etia katasese ne proye ene say one kasa won crop for ma wotimi e de 90 form etwe omoso eti nipa bebre a omo afom a omo eduye sika ewo planado aban mu ewo so de 90 form na otwe omaso na nya se ebetwen ama NDC aban aba ansane akochichi omo se omo begina court.
So let me bring you a translation of that, Elsie.
Right, so Evans is talking about the fact that corruption has become very endemic in this administration. He also made reference to the special prosecutor's comments on the corruption risks done on the Jaffa deal, and for him, the special prosecutor indicts the finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta, and he was expecting the president to sack him just like he did when Shraj found the PPA was culpable of, in a matter of conflict of interest situation that he found himself in. But he says that because the finance minister is a relation to the president, that's how come he's still holding his office as a finance minister. And this is something that when he wins the upcoming elections and become president, he will look at corruption as a high risk, occupation, and that he will not discriminate in applying the law, whether it relates to his relation or not.
Alfred, thank you very much. Also tonight, we're hearing from the chief policy analyst and the former, leading staunch member of the New Patriotic Party. Of course, he's the chief policy analyst at the Ghana Institute of Public Policy Options, Dr. Charles Rokubobe, who is saying that Ghana needs a new finance minister. He insists Mr. Ofori-Atta has not handled his business interests well.
I think it's quite appalling. I mean, if you sum up the current finance minister, Ofori-Atta, went through to ensure that Ofori-Atta appointed Ofori-Atta as the transaction advisor to the government of Ghana, even before we, the people of Ghana, had been told about it. All of this took place in the last quarter of 2017, and it was after the deal had been cooked and the insider trading established that in 2018, at the beginning of 2018, we, the people of Ghana, were even told that we're going to monetize the royalties of this country. He must appoint a new finance minister for the integrity of Ghana's public purse protection, and specifically on this deal to ensure that all sniffs of insider trading are removed, even if monetization of agro royalties is the best thing since sliced bread. I don't think it should be handled by this finance minister.
Well, that's the chief policy analyst at the Ghana Institute of Public Policy Options, Dr. Charles Rokubobe. Well, tonight the special prosecutor has filed another letter. My colleague Ernest Menu has a copy of that. Ernest, so what is this letter about?
So the special prosecutor is responding to the Director of Communications, Eugene Ayin, who issued a statement yesterday after we got a copy of the risk assessment report from his office. Now, he says the special prosecutor read last night a press release signed by Mr. Eugene Ayin, the Communications Director, Communications Directorate, Jubilee House, Accra, which contains statements which are inconsistent with the press statement issued by this office in the morning of 2nd November 2020 on the above subject matter, which needs to be clarified for purposes of accuracy and truthfulness. Mr. Eugene Ahin's statement from the accompanying email was issued around 21 hours GMT. I had explained in this office press statement of yesterday, 2nd November 2020 as follows, and here's a quote from his press statement. The analysis of the risks of corruption and anti-corruption assessment was completed and signed by the Special Prosecutor on 15th October 2020. The Special Prosecutor, in a letter with reference number, it states that, dated the 16th October 2020, conveyed the conclusions and observations of the anti-corruption assessment to His Excellency, the President and the Honorable Finance Minister as a matter of courtesy before informing the public. Now, he continues by saying, the President offered to give me a copy of the alleged comments of the Honorable Minister of Finance to this office's letter, with reference number, the same reference number stated, dated the 16th of October 2020 on 1st November 2020, which I politely refused to take because one could not make comments on conclusions and observations of a letter which did not constitute the full report. I also wanted to preserve the independence of this office as an anti-corruption agency which does not take instructions on the performance of an anti-corruption functions of the office. How could anybody think that a 13-page letter with a reference number constitutes a full assessment report of such an important transaction affecting a most important extractive natural resource, which is a patrimony of the chiefs and people of Ghana and generations unborn? The reaction to the full report vindicates my caution. He continues by saying, I forwarded the completed 64-page report signed by the Special Prosecutor dated the 15th October 2020 to His Excellency the President under cover of letter with reference number, the number is stated, 2nd November 2020, which was signed and received by the President at 12:04 p.m. I forwarded same to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament and the cover of letter, the number is stated, and copy to the majority and minority leaders. And he states the time at which they received it.
So this was 2nd November. This is yesterday.
Exactly. So this is just yesterday. So he says that at 1 p.m. for the Speaker of Parliament, that's when he received it. 1:19 p.m. for the majority leader. 1:19 also for the minority leader. Then he goes on by saying that I also forwarded the same report to the Honourable Finance Minister under the cover of letters at the same time, and he received it at 12:15 p.m. So he actually got it before it went to Parliament. Now, the comments of the Honourable Minister of Finance, which I was aware of Sunday, 1st November 2020, could not therefore be comments to the 64-page report I forwarded to the President. In other words, he is saying that this report of the Finance Minister was there before he submitted the reports, the 64-page reports, to the Finance Minister, to Parliament, and the President.
I mean, so there are several questions that the Special Prosecutor must answer.
Absolutely.
In the back of this release that he's put out, because a few of the things struggle to add up. It doesn't add up, in fact, because he himself in his first letter yesterday that announces the existence of this completion complained that it's been 2 weeks
and too long
since he's completed and sent the details to the President. Right? In fact, he says 2 weeks is more than too long for this office to continue withholding the announcement of the completion of the 64-page report to the public. And it is important that this office has the freedom to discharge its anti-corruption mandate and keep the public informed. And that is why he went ahead to announce to the world that he was done, and that he gave the presidency detailed conclusions and observations. So 2 weeks is also enough, I think, for the finance minister
to respond,
which is exactly what he's done, and we've read the comments of it. And if you read the finance minister's report, it's quite detailed. I mean, a detailed memo to the president. It's quite detailed, touching on all specific areas. So if he didn't see it, how was he able to respond to those specific
with those details?
So there are a lot of questions that this particular statement that is Special Prosecutor has put forward tonight raises about. You struggle to, I guess, grasp what he was trying to say, because he says 16th October, I sent details of conclusion observations. And then he complains that it's been too long.
It's been too long.
That make it public. You have not. But 2 weeks is also the same period, enough time for the finance minister to also look at it and use it as a basis to respond. In fact, Eugene Ahing's statement yesterday was clear that upon receipt of the observations and conclusions, the president then asked the finance minister to respond.
Exactly.
And in fact, the statement also said the finance minister then responds in a confidential memo. So Eugene actually acknowledges and lays out that his response was based on the special prosecutor's conclusions and conclusions and observations. as has been submitted. Of course, I mean this.
But then the special prosecutor also says that the president offered to give him a copy of the alleged comments of the minister, dated 16/20 on the 1st of November.
Again, yeah.
So that confirms actually that the minister had then read, responded, and then the president sought to give him a copy
and
of
then he
it.
refused to take it. Because he says he didn't want to take instructions.
Yeah.
But that there showed that he had the response was based on his report that he had sent earlier. Anyway, you can send us your own thoughts on this unfolding drama surrounding
but he had very interesting words also for Mr. Eugene. He says, "I do not intend to be patronized as a special prosecutor, as Mr. Eugene Ayin appears to have conveyed by the statement issued under his hand. Analysis of the risk corruption reports are serious anti-corruption tools with very serious consequences for any country dedicated to fighting corruption and making corruption a high-risk enterprise." It goes on.
I mean, what do you make of all this? I want to hear from you. 05511119997. This is still your election headquarters. And your election headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity, smart lubricants, quick to move, thick to protect. Now, the opposition NDC is accusing the Electoral Commission of printing over 150,000 extra ballot papers. Now, tonight, we have a detailed response from the Electoral Commission to that particular allegation leveled by the National Democratic Congress. But before we go into those detailed specifics, listen to this report put together by Manuel Kranti.
The main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, is accusing the Electoral Commission of failing to present to it the ballot statistics for the printing exercise. Professor Joshua Alabi is National Campaign Coordinator of the party.
From the ballot statistics received from the printing houses, as coming from the EC, we have analyzed the figure from 13 regions and observed that there is an excess of over 150,000 ballot papers being printed beyond the extra 5% required.
Deputy Director of Elections of the party, Daniel Amate Mensah, gives a breakdown of their findings.
The total figure, in addition to the 5%, for Central Region is 45,750. Averagely 2,117 per constituency. Bono East South 11 constituency. The total excess is 47,000. Averagely 4,000 plus per constituency. You can't say these ones are mistakes because when you look at the figures, the percentage are not uniform. They are deliberately planned to rig the election.
But the Director of Elections of the party, Elvis Ifria Ankara, is therefore requesting an immediate explanation from the Electoral Commission as to the reasons for these extra ballot papers that are being printed.
Give us copies so that we can validate whatever goes on. That should tell you that this thing was planned. And as my deputy was saying, if you look at the statistics and the way that in specific constituencies you see specific numbers, it shows you a very clear agenda. Now we are aware of it. So we want the EC to come and explain to us how come that we have these numbers.
Well, my colleague Elton Broby joins me with the details of the Electoral Commission's response to the allegations you had there from the NDC. Elton.
So the EC says that it has been a standard practice for the Commission to print ballot papers in excess of 5% to cater for instances such as spoiled ballots. Now, this has been the practice since 1992, and the President Commission has not changed this policy. In line with this policy, all printing houses have been directed to print the 2020 ballot papers in excess of 5% for all the 38,660 polling stations across the country. Second, the EC says that it is important to know that since 1992, ballot papers for both the presidential and parliamentary elections are printed in booklets of 10, 25, 50, and 100 for all polling stations. As such, a polling station that has, for example, 90 voters will be provided with a ballot booklet that contains 100 ballots or 2 booklets of 50 ballots each. A special booklet cannot be printed for the exact number of voters, that's 90 voters. In the third instance, in the scenario above, a booklet cannot be printed for 90 voters. A booklet of 100 will be provided, and after adding a contingency of 5% to the 90 voters, the number of ballots would increase to some 95 ballots. However, since the polling station can only be provided with a booklet that contains 100 ballots, there will be an excess of 5 ballot papers to every polling center. Now, the EC says that this has always been a practice, and the NDC is very much aware of this. For the information of the general public, all political parties have accredited agents in the printing houses who monitor and keep a 24-hour watch of the printing process. The transparency and openness of the process makes it impossible for any polling or printing house to manipulate and compromise the process, as all printing is done in the full glare of the agents of the political parties. Secondly, the issue also responding to accusation of not providing political parties with serial numbers. He says that the Commission has never provided political parties with serial numbers or ballot papers. The Commission cannot generate the serial numbers of all 17 million plus ballot papers. As has been the practice, serial numbers are generated by the printing houses and are provided for both the Commission and political parties after each batch of printing is completed. The standard practice has always been as follows. 1. After the printing for each polling station's ballots are completed, the ballots are bagged based on the serial numbers. The serial numbers are then provided to the Commission and the political parties to enable a tracking and monitoring of the distribution of the ballots. The packaged bagged ballots are sealed by both the Electoral Commission and the political parties. Indeed, each political party fixes their party seal on the packaged ballot paper. The political parties take a record of all serial numbers for each packed ballot. The packing of the ballot is undertaken in the presence of all agents of the political parties. And the issue says that on the election day, the political parties certify all serial numbers on each package ballot before the ballots are opened. The serial numbers are also recorded on the statement of polls before voting commences. They've also been responding to agitation regarding the use of assembly press for the 2020 ballot papers. And they are saying that for the information of the public, the printing house listed below have been appointed to print the election 2020 ballots. And they talk about Back Press, Assembly, Art Commercial Limited, Fonsat Limited, Yasako Limited, InnoLink, as well as Checkpoint Limited. And it says that it is a known fact that the Assembly Press is a state institution which at any point in time is headed by the appointee of an incumbent government. It is also a well-known fact that the Assembly Press headed by the appointee of the NDC printed the 92, 96, 2000, 2012 and 2016 ballot papers. In spite of who heads the Assembly Press, the effective monitoring and participation by the political parties and security agencies in the Commission's printing processes makes it impossible for any printing house, be it state-owned or private, to manipulate and compromise the printing process. In conclusion, the Electoral Commission says that it finds it difficult to understand why the NDC will seek to cause fear and apprehension around a transparent and open process such as the printing of ballots. This, according to them, is unacceptable. The Commission assures the public that each ballot paper will be accounted for. Not one ballot paper will be included in a package that has not been accounted for. This will not happen. Our processes are open, transparent, and robust, and will remain so. Okay.
Details of that Electoral Commission's statement there. So listen to Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the Ghana Cocoa Board has confirmed that some high-grade certified cocoa purchased by licensed buying companies are actually ordinary cocoa because it does not fully follow pre-harvest guidelines of the certification process. This is contained in the report commissioned by Cocoa Board on the cocoa certification program. A Joy News expose last month revealed how some LBCs were passing certified cocoa as conventional ones. The cocoa certification program is a scheme that allows farmers to enjoy additional cash as premium on cocoa produced through best practices. Well, my colleague Elton Brobe still will be in the studio with details of the final report on regulatory framework for fair competition in the supply of sustainable cocoa in Ghana. In fact, Ernest Amenu has the copy of that. Ernest, what were the observations made in the certification program?
So, Evans, the report indicated that some sustainability or some sustainable cocoa is actually conventional cocoa, and it does not fully follow the pre-harvest guidelines of the certification process. It also noted that there was an even distribution of the certification program in Ghana. Now, the operators of the sustainable cocoa activities are mostly concentrated in a particular part of the cocoa growing district with similar and duplicated activities. So in some cases, the certified staff and farmers of some LBCs, and the LBCs are the licensed buying companies, are being poached to the detriment of LBCs who had invested training and other resources into the program.
I see. Now, the report also highlighted the payment of cash premium by these LBCs.
Yes, it did. On the payment of premium, Cocoa Board observed that some LBCs apply certification premiums as top-up of government-approved market price of cocoa. Now, this is defeating the purpose of the sustainability program, which is actually aimed at encouraging farmers to adopt good farming practices to improve the environment, but also their livelihoods. So the farmers as well as the farming communities, in most cases, do not obtain the full benefits of the sustainability practice. The farmers are not fully involved also in the administration of some of the premiums. Again, the farmers do not decide democratically how the fund should be spent. For instance, they could decide that it should go into education, into health, farming, farm improvement to increase the yield, or processing facilities. None of that happens. Now, portions of premium funds reserved for farm inputs like agrochemical, protective clothing, Wellington boots, weeding, pruning machines are also not applied, Evans.
I see. Meanwhile, we now also know that Cocoa Board has, with immediate effect, reviewed the implementation of the Cocoa Sustainability Program to prevent abuse of the scheme. In the leaked memo cited by Joy News, it indicates Cocoa Board will not allow any LBC without a foundation to operate the sustainability program during the 2020-2021 main crop season. Here are excerpts.
The circular to the licensed buying companies, under no condition will a buyer be permitted to undertake sustainable projects outside the foundation. It adds that consequently, any LBCs requesting for approval to engage in sustainable or certified cocoa programs shall provide the following for consideration. First, documentary proof of the establishment of a foundation or oversight committee. Second, documentary evidence that a joint foundation account has been opened for the program. And thirdly, the LBCs must provide name of certification body which will audit the certification process. Statement says Messrs Business Assurance BV, a certification body for auditing sustainable or certified, has been blacklisted. Subsequently, any LBCs found to have engaged the services of the above certification will have its certified cocoa sold as convention without recourse to the LBCs involved. And they further cautioned all LBCs to desist from sourcing sustainable certified cocoa from Cocoa Path Farmers Association with immediate effect, and any LBC found to have sourced cocoa from the association will have its certified cocoa sold as conventional. And they further reminded the LBCs that they have already established foundations to ensure that premiums from the projects are paid through the joint foundation account between the LBC and Cocoa Board. And it adds that any LBC that fails to heed to the above directive will have its certified cocoa sold as conventional and sanctioned appropriately.
Excerpts there, of course, from that report that we intercepted here as part of our investigations. The Deputy Chief Executive of Cocoa Board, Dr. Emmanuel Poku, says the document to regulate the Cocoa Sustainability Program will be ready for implementation.
I recall that in my last conversation with you on the same topic, I noted that we have put together a certain regulatory mechanism, a framework, which will guide the operations of all companies that want to enlist or want to go through the certification program. So as for the production and supply of certified and traceable cocoa beans for the market. The committee, which was made up of representatives from the various interest groups, have come up with a draft document that is under review currently. When we are done, we will all go through it and then we will adopt it.
Well, that is the Deputy Chief Executive there of Cocoa Board, who responding to some of the key issues that we found. Dr. Emmanuel Opoku still listening to Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Just a couple of your messages on our WhatsApp console. How can the finance minister respond to a 68-page report than those based on conclusions and observations? Eric says, I don't know why NDC members keep on accusing the Electoral Commission of not being transparent. They should exercise patience and allow EC to do its work. This one says the special prosecutor, the issues raised by the special prosecutor are issues we already knew from day one, so it's merely just an academic exercise. The jeopardy has ever been, and it still isn't in the interest of the country. George is here with the very latest from the world of business. Right after we hear the details from the world of business, Majority Leader in Parliament will be justifying why he is proposing to the President that in the next Parliament they should hold the swearing of the President in January at the precinct of the House instead of the Independence Square.
The House has decided that the President-elect must from hence, subject to security considerations, be sworn in the presence of Parliament, before Parliament, and in Parliament.
We'll hear from the President himself on this proposal, plus his commitment to strengthen the oversight role of Parliament.
Our Parliament, the legislative arm of government, must grow into its proper role as an effective machinery for accountability and oversight of the executive, and not be its junior partner.
And then later, will Joe Biden capture the presidential seat, or will Donald Trump shock his critics and retain it once more? We have all the analysis as anxiety and excitement builds up in the U.S. elections, which is still underway.
Right, and that's not so much because of the Electoral College, although that's always been in place. So already there are about 95 million votes that have been cast.
Well, we are looking forward to how it turns out in the USA. And George, you know, when the USA cops, everybody catches the cold. I mean, economically, this elections in the US will have fundamental implications for our economy.
Of course.
As little as we are.
Whether the dollar is going to stabilize or is going to be strong or not, going to depreciate further, it has implications for the Ghana city. Many people will also be watching for the new WTO post that the Nigerian was in position to be confirmed. And then the nominee from US, which is obviously a Trump nominee, thinks that she doesn't deserve it and they deserve something else. So no matter how you want to look at it, basically it's going to affect Ghana. It's going to affect the African continent.
Listen, we have a special show on Joy News tonight. America Decides live on the Joy News channel from midnight. You want to join us for that? We're going to be giving you the Ghanaian perspective to the U.S. elections. We're going to be going through for you why this decision tonight, once it's made by the Americans, will have as much impact on your life in Ghana.
Yeah, in Ghana.
Some great analysis we've been doing with our colleagues from the U.S. also looking into this. You want to stay with us for that. We are going from 12 to 2:30 because we anticipate that the first results will start coming in right after 12. You know, the states at different times. But by 2:30, a picture should be emerging on the battleground states that we've been analyzing ourselves here.
Florida, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yes.
But there was a small state in, I stand to be corrected, is it the border to Canada that has already declared their result? And because of the early
mailing ballots that is coming. But listen, you just want to join us for that. Get the Ghanaian perspective to the U.S. elections.
The majority of Ghanaians will be looking for a blue wave or a red wave.
We'll see. What do you have in the headline?
Well, events coming up in business. Securities and Exchange Commission warns public over dealing with PBAY, a company claiming to help facilitate locked up funds for some clients. And also the marginal reduction in price of petroleum products that we have been witnessing over the past months might be sustained to the end of this year. We'll be hearing from the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
Charlie, make I see if Kofi go fit send me some momo. Make I take hold myself small. Simple you.
If you like the caller tune you're about to listen to, press *1 to copy now.
Oh, I just can't.
Let your caller tune do the talking. Express yourself with your caller tune and win big with MTN. MTN. Simply dial *1355# or download your favorite caller tune or copy or renew your already existing caller tune and stand a chance of winning up to 1,000 cedis weekly, 4,000 cedis monthly, and the grand prize of 15,000 Ghana cedis and the MTN caller tunes promo. Send stars to 1355 or dial *1355# to subscribe today. We're good together. We there for you everywhere you go.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks, and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years' experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery, and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302-764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website, www.kingdomgh.com.
Many people have lost their jobs since 2017. The next NDC government, led by John Mahama and Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, will work hard to provide jobs for all. Here is our plan. Under our Ejumapa policy, we will create a minimum of 250,000 decent and sustainable jobs every year. That's a minimum of 1 million permanent and well-paying jobs. Jumapa, in 4 years in the financial services sector, such as banking and insurance, construction, agriculture and agribusiness, ICT, oil and gas, pharmaceuticals, tourism, tree crops, waste management and sanitation, and coastal landscape and forest management, among others. Those who also want to learn a craft will be enrolled under the NDC's state-sponsored National Apprenticeship Program. We will also give them the tools kit needed to start their businesses upon completion of their apprenticeship. NAPCO beneficiaries will also be made permanent public sector workers. This is our plan for jobs. Vote John Mahama. Vote NDC.
Fellow Ghanaians, small businesses grow Ghana's economy to help make it big. They give us jobs in our communities. Since 2017, the MPP has raised money and given training and contracts to women-owned small businesses. This December, remember your vote will make a difference in securing the jobs of millions of Ghanaians who are working thanks to NAPCO, planting for food and jobs. One district, one factory. Let's protect our progress. Vote NPP. Vote Nana Akufo-Addo for 4 more years to do more for you.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has indicated that the marginal reduction in prices of petroleum products will be sustained to the end of this year. Now, this is coming as prices witnessed a marginal decline over the last 2 months because of developments on the international market. There are concerns, however, that whether this will be sustained looking at current development on the global economy because of COVID-19. But the executive director of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amwa, tells Joy Business in the long term COVID-19 would impact prices going forward to see it declining locally as well.
COVID again is bringing quite a number of lockdowns across Europe, and so that would mean that demand for petroleum products would go down again. Once demand goes down, naturally prices would also go down, and so we have projected that between now and December it will be difficult to have prices skyrocket to the levels that we saw. You may get some hikes here and there, but often those hikes may not even be significant to see any increases relative to the pumps. What we are expecting the new window November is further stability, and probably by the second window November we should see prices inching down further.
Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. So some good news for consumers of petroleum products over there. Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission is warning the public not to deal with a PABY, that's a company claiming to help retrieve funds of some customers that have been locked up in those firms that had their licenses withdrawn. The one was contained in a statement issued by the Commission a while ago. The Commission noted that it has the customer doesn't need any third party to help them receive his or her locked up funds. In a related development, the Commission has also reminded the public that the second phase of the locked up funds that will be paid actually will start very soon. Now, this will be after the Registrar General has been able to secure the court's approval or permission to liquidate these companies that have had their problems resolved. It also insisted that it would only pay funds to customers that have had their claims validated. So don't go out there thinking that your funds have delayed. Therefore, you need to contact any third party to help you retrieve those funds. That's an advice coming from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, senior country partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Mr. Shagbo, is warning that it might be too early to establish the impact of COVID-19 on banking operations and financials. Now, this is coming after most commercial banks posted some impressive results for the third quarter of this year. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of the Graphic Stanbic breakfast meeting, Mr. Shagbo said we may need some more time to form some judgment on how these banks will be affected going forward.
We're in a pandemic. It may look and feel as though the pandemic is gradually coming under control, but the impact or the real impact on businesses, I think, is yet to filter through, because this thing has a long tail end, right? We're now in November. March, April is when we were at the height of it. It's still out there. The effects will be felt for some time to come. So it's too early to make definitive statements about whether or not it's had as significant an impact as we all thought it would. But I think that, most businesses were able to react reasonably quickly. All I'll say is that I believe this thing has a long tail end and we're not out of the woods.
This Shagbo is the senior country partner at accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers. Now, the opposition NDC has rejected suggestions that it is the cause of the current challenges facing the energy sector, insisting that it is better placed to deal with the issues that is currently affecting the area. Now, the party made these proposals when it took its turn at the COPEC, that is the Seaboard Town Hall meeting with political parties. Let's hear from Emmanuel Marco Fibua. He's the former energy minister.
And what we are saying to you is that because we have the capacity to address these challenges, we are coming back with a program we've laid in the People's Manifesto to address that. Now go back to even the petroleum subsidy. Why is it that investment has stalled? Why is it that it is only the NDC government's handiworks that are all over the energy sector? If you want to see policies that really bring investment, it is the NDC. We are saying that because of our experience in the upstream sector, we have a program and policies that is going to attract private sector investment and basically bring the energy again so that Ghana can continue to increase oil production.
Emmanuel Marco Fibua is the former energy minister, now speaking at the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution Companies, that is the town hall meeting for the major political parties. The MPP is expected to take its stand this Friday. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
George Yafe, I know you have a U.S. honorary visa. I mean, citizens.
But for some of us, we are for the blue wave. I mean, we won't hide the fact that we believe that a Biden presidency will be good for all of us.
Trump will shock you again.
Well, let's see. This time things are changing even.
I remember in 2016, I was in the States covering the elections. I was predicting Trump would win. People thought I was crazy. I mean, but I'm seeing the same signs again.
If you monitor that time, the polls actually closed few hours to that day. Don't forget the report that the FBI issued on Hillary Clinton didn't help her at all. But this time, things are changing, and I think that we will look forward to a blue wave.
We'll see. Thank you very much, George. Still listening to Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. More of your messages shortly. But first, Parliament wants the next president to be sworn into office on the premises of the House instead of the Independence Square. Majority Leader Evans Mensah today put the proposal before President Akufo-Addo when he commissioned the Job 600 Annex building to provide additional offices for members of Parliament. Minority Leader Harun Idrisu appealed to the President for support that will allow for the establishment of a presidential enclave on the premises. First, listen to the Majority Leader, Evans Mensah.
Members of Parliament are united in the principle that an elected president must be sworn in the presence of Parliament, before Parliament, and indeed in Parliament, as the Honorable J.H. Mensah boldly articulated. The Ghanaian electorate always want to be part of and indeed own the process and procedures of the swearing in of our presidents-elect. The space afforded by the small chamber of Parliament makes it difficult to hold the event in the plenary of Parliament, which is why, conveniently, Parliament elects to sit at the Independence Square on such occasions. On that 7th day of January, the election of the Speaker and Deputy Speakers and the swearing in of members of Parliament have to be concluded before Parliament would relocate to the Independence Square to have the President-elect sworn in before the relocated House of Parliament. It is hard to relate that oftentimes, before the sitting is suspended for the House to reconvene at the Independence Square, the public would have generally taken over the sitting of the relocated Parliament. In the event, Parliament, the members are dislodged from what is supposed to be their own house. The members of Parliament, especially those from the party that might have lost the elections, are subjected to vile and vitriolic language in their own house. And Mr. President, sometimes all manner of animals, some of them dressed in party paraphernalia, are paraded in the relocated Parliament. Not surprisingly, most of the members of Parliament who belong to the party that lose out in the presidential and general elections elect not to be part or participate in the proceedings that lead to the swearing in of the President. Mr. President, as you agree with us, that cannot be good practice. It's not good practice, and accordingly, the House has decided that the President-elect must from hence, subject to security considerations, be sworn in the presence of Parliament, before Parliament, and in Parliament. Consequently, Mr. President, the Parliament of Ghana is proposing that the swearing in of the President-elect should be done in the present presence of Parliament, as happened during the first inauguration of President John Agyekum Kufuor. Mr. President, this is our humble request, and once it meets your agreement, the necessary triggers shall be pulled to get the place ready for the event on January 7th, 2021.
Let me bring in parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. Joseph, so the president was there. This was a direct appeal to him. What did he have to say to this?
Well, the president says this is something that he will look at if he wins his second term, alongside the conversation around what the minority and the higher Idrisu had asked for in terms of the support to establish a whole parliamentary enclave.
Let me assure both the majority and minority leaders, particularly the minority leader, that in my next term, my second, the issue of title and the designation of the parliamentary enclave will be settled. Furthermore, the swearing-in procedures to which the majority leader alluded in his speech will, subject to the relevant considerations of security, fitness, the letter and constitution, and the letter and spirit of the Constitution of the Republic, will be duly considered as soon as possible after 7th December.
So that is the president's response there, Joseph. Also today, having responded to this, the president also spoke about government support to strengthen the oversight role of Parliament. Joseph. Hello, Joseph.
Evans.
Yes, I'm talking about his commitment to strengthening Parliament's oversight role.
Professor Michael Quay, the Speaker, and the President himself have both been noting that the administration has over the last 4 years been increasing budgetary support for Parliament, all as part of efforts to give it its independence and give it the necessary tools and requirements to be able to get its job done. And the assurance that's coming from the two leaders is that going forward, they will continue to invest more in Parliament as part of efforts to enhance Ghana's democracy.
The entire project has been funded solely from Government of Ghana budgetary sources. Mr. Speaker, if we are to be successful in deepening our democracy, we must have a true separation of powers between the various arms of government. My view of this is well known. Our Parliament, the legislative arm of government, must grow into its proper role as an effective machinery for accountability and oversight of the executive and not be its junior partner. This requires that we adequately resource Parliament with the requisite infrastructure and logistics to help it function effectively. That is why the government of Nana Akufo-Addo, since its assumption of office on 7th January 2017, has increased cumulatively the budgetary allocation to the House by 56.6% and has committed itself to supporting the Parliamentary Service Board to initiate and implement various projects necessary for the efficient work of the legislature. Indeed, after the refurbishment in 2015 of the State House Tower Block, popularly referred to as Job 600 building, not all members of Parliament could be accommodated in the building. To remedy the situation for the unlucky MPs and also to meet other infrastructural needs of the House, government took upon the challenge to provide the requisite finances to support Parliament in undertaking the physical infrastructure enhancement project. You can therefore...
And Joseph, tell us briefly about this new block.
So this is office space for 75 additional members of Parliament. The number of office spaces there for MPs is something around 23, because we know that not all of them actually had previous access as far as offices are concerned in the main building. The entire project itself cost more than $23 million, which is in the region of more than 90 million Ghana cedis. And there are additional support areas for staff, including drivers and other parliamentary support team members.
Thank you very much. Let's do sports now, and Baba joins us with the latest. Hello, Babs.
Hi, Evans, and I can't wait. I'm also anxious about getting to know who is actually winning in the United States of America. Anyway, so the UEFA Champions League commentary is back on your Super Hits Radio, John 99.7 FM, and we are your home for live commentary. Tonight, we set the ball rolling in Spain, where Real Madrid will be looking for their first Champions League victory of the season when they welcome Inter Milan to the Alfredo Di Stefano. Now, George Addo Jr. and Gary Al-Smith will be behind the microphones and, to bring you the best of coverage. Now, as to what to expect tonight, here we go.
Tonight's Champions League game is between Inter and Real Madrid, and for us, it's a great way to start our offering for the 2020-2021 season, which is from now all the way to May. And the usual excitement is what we promise listeners, as well as, I'm sure, a lot of laughs, drama, and everything in between. Unfortunately, this season, we will not have two commentary games every week. We will have one commentary game, and we'll have it either on Tuesday or Wednesday. So that's the difference between this season and the previous seasons. But we'll work hard to choose all the exciting games all the time.
So that was Gary Al-Smith. Join him later after Newsnight with George Addo Jr. as they bring you commentary of that game between Real Madrid and Inter Milan. Now, it's halftime between Lokomotiv Moscow and Atletico Madrid. 1-1 it is. Later on, Salzburg will take on Bayern München. Shakhtar Donetsk are losing at home by 4-0 to Borussia Mönchengladbach. And then we have FC Porto hosting Marseille. And then Olympiacos travel to England to play Manchester City. Atalanta take on Liverpool. And FC Midtjylland take on Ajax. And Ryan Giggs is still battling, as to whether he's going to lead Wales or not for this month's friendly match against the United States of America at the Swansea Stadium. This is because, he was charged on assault or alleged assault of his girlfriend. This was made against him by his girlfriend, and things are still being sorted out. But definitely, he won't be in the dugout when Wales plays against the USA at the Swansea's Liberty Stadium on November 12th. You are up to date in the world of sport. I'm Baba Tanda from London.
Baba, thank you very much.
Which was executed by the government of Ghana for.
You know what makes America great? People. And that is what he has rallied together. I believe in the preservation of life. I believe our president honors that.
He sometimes said some things that make me cringe, but we have a warrior that is fighting for our country.
Not only has he done what he said he would do, he actually has exceeded my expectations. I never see any president love the country, love the people like him.
Well, there's been hours of voting in this historic U.S. elections with more than 99 million votes already cast in early voting and mailing ballots. Also, analysts say there will be a record voter turnout this year in the U.S. elections. There is so much anxiety and excitement as millions of Americans cast their ballot to determine who emerges president. Ahead of the election, President Donald Trump said a win for him will make America great again.
We have made America powerful again, our military. We have made America wealthy again. Wealthy.
Well, Joe Biden, who spent the night in Philadelphia, called on voters to show their rejection of racism and intimidation by voting for him.
President Trump is terrified of what will happen in Pennsylvania. He knows the people of Pennsylvania get to have their say. If you have your say, he doesn't stand a chance.
Well, of course, we know that polling is still underway in the United States of America. You want to join us later tonight for our special coverage of the U.S. elections. We start at midnight to 2:30. This is the exclusive Ghanaian perspective to the U.S. elections. Now, 80,000 poor and vulnerable persons in the Greater Accra region are homeless. This is according to the Ghana National Household Registry. This figure represents twice the full capacity of Accra Stadium. The registry says 62% of the vulnerable individuals were female, with about 50% age 18 and 29. Now, regardless of your budget or location of land, exhibitors of the EcoBank Habitat Fair are promising you can become a homeowner with less stress. Now, this can only be realized if you visit the fair, which comes off at the Accra International Conference Center from the 6th to the 8th of November. Now, the 11th edition of the fair will help you find credible alternatives for shelter. Head of Personal Banking at Pan-African Bank, EcoBank, Kwesi Atebra, tells us how. And we'll hear from him shortly on the fair. One sponsor of the fair is Duraplast, manufacturer of high quality UPVC, and have also been telling AM show host Mamabi Usabaji some exciting deals that they have for patrons. But let's listen to the Pan-African Bank, EcoBank's Kwesi Atebra.
It is getting cheaper and the financing is available. So long as we find a house that meets that level, you can afford it and then you take it up from.
So this 1,999.99 that you're talking about, that goes for a house of, say, how much dollars?
On the average, about a $30,000 house. You can comfortably pay over 15 years with that 1,999 cedis per month. I mean, we are not limiting you to 1,999. If you can afford 3,000, 4,000, depending on the price of the house and your monthly salary, because we will not use more than 50% of your net salary to finance your loan. So it all depends on your ability to pay, your salary, how old you are, because the mortgage offering is up to 15 years. So if you are 45 and below, you can enjoy the full tenor. If you are above 45, then it's between your age and then your retirement age.
Well, there's a lot of goodies available at the of this housing fair. You want to hear the details of this? Stay tuned, because we bring you a lot of that. What Duraplast is offering to you. This is only at this fair. The theme for this year's fair is affordable housing beyond rhetoric. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, GHP Properties, Roofing, Papa Fie, Duraplast Limited, manufacturers of high-quality UPVC, HDPE pipes, firings, and rotational molded products, where Duraplast goes, water flows, and the planned city extension project, rent to own. And that's it for Newsnight tonight. Up next, of course, the lads with the UEFA Champions League.
Hi, Evans.
Hey, Gary.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
It's been a while since we came with you for Champions League.
Oh, I can wait. I know my team is flying in the Europa Champions League, but of course doing poorly at home. I will take it like that.
You take it like that, right? Continental dominance.
Half a loaf is better than that.
I can see that. I can see that. Anyway, thank you for the news. We appreciate it. And now, time now to begin our season's coverage of the UEFA Champions League. Hello, I'm Gary Al Smith. I'll be joined by the rest of the team. In an hour, we have Inter versus Real Madrid, but as usual, we have the UEFA Champions League podcast to preview the action and also to review the last match. Our coverage is brought to you by DSTV, GoTV, and also powered by Joy Sports.